This is the tragic life of Tommy Rich, the man who once shocked the wrestling world by beating Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, and now, at nearly 70, is still fighting battles both in and out of the ring. Tommy Wildfire Rich was born on July 26, 1956 in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He started wrestling in 1974 when he was just 18 years old. He learned from some of the best in the business: Jerry Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, Dick Steinborn, and Tojo Yamamoto. These weren't just any trainers. These were legends who knew how to make stars. Rich caught fire fast in the Southern wrestling territories. He became a huge star in Georgia Championship Wrestling and Memphis throughout the 1980s. His Wildfire nickname fit him perfectly. He had this fiery spirit that fans loved. He was the good guy everyone wanted to cheer for. Southern wrestling was different back then. It felt real. It felt raw. The wrestlers seemed like regular people you might meet at the grocery store. The focus was on great promos and personal feuds that made you care. And the matches often got bloody. Really bloody. Rich was perfect for this style. He had charisma and Southern charm that made him feel like your neighbor's tough kid brother. Fans connected with him in a way that's hard to explain today. He wasn't the biggest guy or the most athletic, but he had something special that made people believe in him. This connection made Rich a massive draw across the Southern territories. He won the NWA Georgia Heavyweight Championship 3 times. He captured the NWA Georgia Tag Team Championship 7 times. He had brutal feuds with some of the toughest guys in the business. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Ole Anderson, Ivan Koloff, and the fabulous Freebirds all went to war with Rich. His 2-year feud with Buzz Sawyer was legendary. It all came to a head at the last Battle of Atlanta in 1983. This was a fully enclosed steel cage match that many people say inspired the Hell in a Cell concept we see today. That's how intense and innovative their rivalry was. Rich was generating huge ratings on TBS television. He was one of the most popular wrestling stars of that era, but his success was tied to a specific style and region. While this made him a megastar in the South, it also limited his ability to translate that success to a national audience. Then came April 27, 1981. Rich did something that shocked everyone. He beat Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in Augusta, Georgia. This wasn't just any title. This was the most prestigious championship in all of wrestling. And Race wasn't just any champion. He was considered one of the toughest, most legitimate wrestlers alive. The victory was considered a major upset. The NWA World Championship rarely changed hands in those days. When it did, it was huge news. Rich had reached the absolute pinnacle of professional wrestling. But here's where the story gets complicated. Rich's reign lasted only 4 to 7 days, depending on who you ask. He dropped the title back to Harley Race on May 1, 1981, in Gainesville, Georgia. Despite the short reign, Rich successfully defended the title 3 times in different Georgia cities before losing it back. Because the title change happened from Monday to Friday, Rich never appeared on television as the reigning champion. He was interviewed by Gordon Solie on the Saturday GCW show, but only to talk about both winning and losing the title. The reasons for the short reign have been debated for decades. Harley Race claimed it was about helping promoter Jim Barnett win a power struggle in Georgia. Rich said it was Race's idea to drop the title to him, and that Race even put up a $10,000 deposit to make it happen. Rich insisted that Jim Barnett had nothing to do with it. Jim Cornette had a different take. He thought Rich's title win was a reward for being the hottest territory babyface in the country and for bringing in those high TBS ratings. Cornette believed Jim Barnett used his influence with the NWA board to make it happen. Rich himself later admitted something important. He said he probably wasn't the most responsible person at that time. He acknowledged that holding the NWA title came with a lot of responsibility that he wasn't ready for. This honest admission gives us a clue about what might have really happened. The truth is probably all of these things combined. Rich was incredibly popular and deserved the recognition. The politics of the NWA system allowed for quick title changes to help territories. But there were also concerns about whether Rich was mature enough to carry the top championship for an extended period. Despite holding the title for less than a week, this accomplishment became something Rich carried with him for his entire career. He called it one of the biggest things in his life. That shows you how much the NWA World Championship meant, even for such a brief time. But behind the scenes where Rich was struggling with personal demons. The wrestling business in those days had a culture of substance abuse. Pills were passed around backstage like candy on Halloween. One account describes Rich getting visibly excited when he received a handful of pills from other wrestlers. Another story tells of him coming out of a bathroom shouting about pink-uns, a reference to a type of pill. Rich has publicly acknowledged his demons with drinking and partying. The demanding travel schedule, constant physical pain, and lack of accountability created the perfect storm for addiction. This wasn't just Rich's problem. It was a systemic issue in wrestling that affected many performers of his generation. His substance abuse led to erratic behavior that hurt his career and reputation. The problems weren't just limited to his younger years. In 2011, when Rich was in his mid-50s, he got into a backstage altercation with independent wrestler JP Magnum. Rich was upset about being booked to lose an I Quit match to a manager named Jay West. As the wrestling business evolved in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Rich struggled to maintain his star power. He worked for World Championship Wrestling from 1989 to 1992, but found himself relegated to mid-card status. The promotion was pushing newer, bigger names like Ricky Steamboat, Terry Funk, Brian Pillman, and the Great Muta. Rich's style of wrestling and his look were tied to a specific era. Critics pointed to his declining performance and the fading of his pretty boy appearance as he aged. While he adapted his wrestling style to work in different promotions like Memphis Wrestling and ECW, he never regained the national prominence he had briefly touched in 1981. Some people say Rich didn't adapt well to the evolving wrestling landscape. Others claim he did adapt his style to fit different promotions. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Rich could adjust his in-ring work and character to fit specific regional and niche promotions, but he struggled to gain and maintain national mainstream success in larger, more polished promotions. However, Rich's story doesn't end in tragedy. He eventually got his life together and achieved sobriety. He attended a rehabilitation facility called the Greenhouse in Dallas twice within a single year. He reflected on his past, admitting he was not held accountable in his younger years and that he was causing havoc in his own life and his family's life. By 2021, people who knew Rich reported that he appeared lucid and had gotten clean and sober. This transformation allowed him to continue contributing to the wrestling business he loved. He operates a wrestling school and promotion, passing on his knowledge to the next generation. Rich's remarkable longevity is impressive. He wrestled 17 matches in 2024, well into his late 60s. His continued presence on the independent scene demonstrates his deep commitment to wrestling and suggests there's still demand for his old-school presence among fans. The wrestling world has recognized Rich's contributions through numerous Hall of Fame inductions. He was inducted into the NWA Hall of Fame in 2008, the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2021, and the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum in 2021. He also received the Men's Wrestling Award from the Cauliflower Alley Club in 2020. Rich's legacy isn't defined by sustained national championship runs like Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan. Instead, he represents something equally valuable. He embodies the territorial era's unique appeal and intensity. He's a living reminder of when wrestling felt more real and personal. His career serves as a case study of how talent, personal struggles, and industry changes intersected during wrestling's transition from territories to national expansion. He achieved almost unparalleled stardom within the regional system, particularly in the South, where his natural charisma and brawling style connected deeply with audiences. Today, Tommy Rich represents resilience and redemption. He overcame personal demons that destroyed many of his contemporaries. He found a way to stay connected to the business he loved while building a more stable life. His journey from troubled superstar to respected veteran is as compelling as any storyline he ever performed. Tommy Rich never became a household name like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, but for fans of gritty, bloody, real-deal Southern wrestling, he'll always be the Wildfire. His brief touch of greatness and long road to redemption make him a uniquely American wrestling story.